Hey guys, it's me. I have a Vespa 300 GTS Super and had a couple problems with the gas system. And in that, I looked up 100 ways to fix it on the internet. Hopefully this will save you a little bit of time and hopefully it works. But at the end of the day, I overfilled the tank and that flowed into what's known as the EVAP system and caused it to run really, really rough for probably about 3 or 4 days while that gas evaporated out of that system. Yesterday, it was 90 plus degrees here in Florida, and the pressure expanded in the tank, I'm guessing, and it was just completely dead. The Vespa was parked in the sun maybe for an hour. I came back, fired it up, wouldn't start. Had plenty of gas. I don't use ethanol gas, I use ethanol-free gas. Wouldn't start. We wiggled around a couple things. Notice that when we wiggled around the EVAP hose, it finally started. So that kind of led me to believe that both situations were related to the EVAP, and I decided to finally get rid of it. Now, in all the research I did on the internet, there's plenty of videos on how to get the EVAP out of a 150 and other models, but there wasn't any that were specific to the GTS 300. So I thought that I would post that online and hopefully help you guys out. So with that, let's get down to it. Okay, so here's the bike. Front of the bike, the rear of the bike, you see the gas tank there near the rear. And what we're looking for is a sticker that they place right there in front of the fuel tank. This is what that sticker looks like. I'll use it during the video to explain the process of removing the system. All the parts are labeled, so I'll stick to that A, B, C numeration that they have. And if there's a hose between two units, I'll refer to it as AB, for example, for the hose between A and B, or BC for the hose between B and C, and so on and so forth. I'll also be coming back to this drawing during the video, so you can refer back to where we are in the process. You're going to want a 10 millimeter socket wrench, and you're looking for these two screws. They kind of stick out. Now you can see them here with the bolts removed, but those two essentially hold a bracket that holds almost the entire EVAP system in place. So what you're going to want to do is push the screws through until this bracket falls out. Now don't try to take everything out at once, because until you cut the hoses, it makes it very difficult to take the entire assembly out. So let's cut the hoses first. Okay, first we have to find the hose. It's essentially the hose that comes from the gas tank to the beginning of the EVAP system. So it's between the A and the B parts, and it's sticking out of the assembly you just pulled out. Grab it, and with a pair of scissors, cut about 1.5 inches from the collar so that you don't cut the part itself. We need to remove one more hose before we can get the assembly out. So if you look towards the front of the bike, right around the area that's the fuel injection system, which you can see here, you're actually looking for this DE hose where it goes into the manifold. What you're going to find is that it's blocked by a wiring harness above it, which can easily be removed by reaching your fingers under it, squeezing up on the little wire, and the harness will come right out, giving you full access to the hose. Remove the clamp on the hose using some cutting pliers, and then you should access what looks like a bronze nipple coming out of the manifold. Alright, now that both hoses are loose, we can take out the entire assembly. Make sure that last hose you cut near the manifold, that you follow it up, there's a zip tie about 6 inches up from it. You're going to want to cut that to get it loose from the chassis, and then at that point you can pull the entire assembly out. It does take a little bit of jostling to get it out of there. I also found that removing the rubber gasket that's holding the little square tank or rectangular tank also helps to just make the whole assembly smaller, and it comes out easier, but just take your time with it, it'll come out. Once you get the assembly loose, this is what it looks like, and you can decide what you want to do with it, if you want to throw it away or keep it, sell it on eBay. I've actually seen a few for sale on eBay, so somebody's looking for them. Alright, we're almost done with the removal. Remember that hose we cut in the first step? We need to make sure that it goes all the way down to the ground. Why? Because this hose gets rid of any overfill in the gas tank, and we don't want that spraying all over a super hot engine while you're running. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an extension on that hose and run it all the way to the bottom of the motorcycle so any overfilled fuel just spills out through the bottom and doesn't touch the engine. The other thing we need to do is on that bronze nipple that goes into the manifold, we actually need to seal that because the bike is fuel injected. We don't need any air coming in through this, but we do need to cap it so that there is also no loss of air while the fuel injection system is running. So I'll show you how to do both of those, and that'll wrap up the install. So simple install, as you can see. I put the little coupler and just a normal hose clamp. The clamps that the Vespa brings are nearly impossible to take apart because they're the crimp style, so I'm just replacing them with some normal ones. Get the tip of this a little wet, just kind of ease it into the hose like that. And then we'll put this other clamp here, and now we'll have enough length in the pipe to take it all the way to the bottom of the scooter. So finally got the hoses hooked up. I have this nice long hose for an overflow hose, and I'm just going to run it down through here, kind of down the side. You can see the opening down there to the floor, and just right it down there, and I'm going to zip tie it to another hose that's already down there for a similar purpose, and that'll keep it close to the ground and aligned so it just doesn't splash on the engine. All right, last step and we're done. Simply take one of the vacuum caps, put it over the bronze nipple, and now with that being tightly covered, we're going to use a clamp and then screw that clamp down with a screwdriver so that it's tight and that vacuum cap does not fall off. You'll also notice from what you see here that I've actually rotated the wiring harness receptacle out of the way so that I could easily access the bronze nipple. Don't forget to snap the wiring harness back in the same way you took it out, otherwise your motorcycle won't start. And that is the end of it. You are good to go. Start her up and enjoy riding.